Welcome to The Wellspring on Radio Southland 96.4 FM. This is Ancient Wellness and Self-Love for the Modern Day Femme, inspiring you to live more in tune with your body's wisdom, well-being and inner self. I'm Steph Mac. Today I'm going to delve into some of the healing services and the work that I do here locally in Southland and the work that I do with people all over the world. So I trained in becoming a qualified life coach about 3 or 4 years ago now with the New Zealand Institute of Business, and it was a 6-month diploma. I ended up selling my house, leaving my corporate job, going to South America and pursuing this qualification. And it was deeply important to me at the time to solidify this in my world and to be able to start thinking and offering this to people around me. It was about 10 years ago now that I did my first training in Reiki, the Otatara retreat, which was absolutely amazing. Followed by, a few years after that, studied energy healing with Jeanette Wilson. She's a famous worldwide energy healer. And that was a weekend immersion in Dunedin with a beautiful friend. And since then I have gained a multitude of modalities, trainings, and things under my belt which has helped me to be able to do this work with people. The greatest thing that I work with is my intuition. When someone tells me exactly what's going wrong, I know exactly what the issue is. I know the belief. I can go to the root. I can see when it first formed, whether that be in the womb, from childhood, and I can clear it. So some of the work is, traditional life coaching. Sometimes it's just using my intuition and my spidey senses to see what is presenting itself. And of course, as soon as the thing or the issue or the belief is cleared, that's when the person can come home to themselves and release whatever it is that has been holding them back, release the fear. There are literal shifts in their 3D environment. So I offer life coaching, not as traditional as what a life coach would perhaps offer, but it's a very transformational, energetic based offering. I also work with people in the energy healing space, and the beautiful clients that I have worked with in Invercargill, I've rocked up at their houses and they've jumped on the massage table and I've laid crystals all over their body, and as soon as I've started working with them, they've just burst out in tears, crying. It's about holding a space of pure love for the person, to bathe in the frequencies of divinity. And of course, anything that anyone's holding that isn't love will be dissolved. It will come to the light. It will come up to the surface for transmutation. And word of warning, a lot of my clients have had diarrhea after our sessions because their bodies are able to finally relax and release literally the shit that they're holding on to. So that is a word of warning. Don't say I didn't warn you. Other things that happen is people end up having a lot of prophetic dreams. Intuition gets heightened. People become more aware of their womb space. Dreams are crazy. People notice sunsets and sunrises, and the world just looks so much more vivid. Such powerful work, working with energy, because everything around us is the manifestation of energy. It's been proven in quantum physics and science. Everything around us is vibrating, everything is oscillating at a frequency. It's the manifest, and the work that we do together is in the unmanifest space. The space before it becomes a thing. It's your thought level before it becomes a thing. Thoughts become things, feelings become things. You are the embodiment and expression of what you thought a week ago. That's why interrupting patterns, habits, cycles is so powerful, but the problem is we want to stay in the comfortable and the familiar and what's normal to us, because going beyond the void and going beyond the known world is terrifyingly scary, and that is why it is a death and rebirth, because I will literally ask you to give up everything you know and die. It's a death to the old self, but it's a rebirth into the person you want to be, so it's a worthy sacrifice. The other work that I've been deeply in love with is ecotherapy. And I take clients into the forest, and some people in Southland have been really open to it, others have been a little bit closed off, and it's been a little bit hard to explain why this work is so powerful, but it's something truly that you have to experience for yourself. It's one of those things that's a visceral, felt experience going into the space of the forest. And things will show up. It's very organic. Like with one client, there were a lot of thorns. And it reminded her of a relationship she was having that was very prickly. And as soon as she changed within herself, her thinking and her feelings, and released what she needed to release, she was able to walk away from those thorns. And in her body, she felt the experience of being able to walk away from a toxic relationship. It became solidified in her body, and it was a new normal. Whereas sometimes doing the work without a physical space can be more difficult to solidify it into the material world. There has to be something that gets embodied. Otherwise, it's just quote unquote piss in the wind. It has to be brought into the physical world, into the manifest space, for you to see it and interact with it, in order to see the new feedback loop of the thoughts and the feelings that you are changing. And this is why art is so powerful, because when you express from your true self, not your pain body, not your wounding, not the voices of other people, when you express from your true voice, you solidify that, you let that take up more space, you get to have a piece of artwork that sits in your lounge, that sits in your bedroom, that becomes more normal. It becomes more embodied, more of who you are. You have greater access to that energy, that frequency that you know is the true you. And then a year down the track, you suddenly realize your whole life is a reflection of the true you. And it's completely different than it was a year ago. That's why it's so powerful. It's a full permission. It's your inner child playing. It's a shift. It's no longer at the level of the mind. It's at the level of the whole body, your whole life, your whole experience. It's been amazing watching these art workshops take place, and part of the advertising is, didn't think you were an artist? I can guarantee that you are. Because most of the people that come along are people that have never believed they have a creative bone in their body. And these are the people that I love to work with. Like this beautiful old man that came to a workshop, and he was told by his teacher very early on in life that he couldn't paint, so he never painted again. He read my little message and he came along. He's like, good luck with me. You got your hands full. But he painted the most beautiful picture. And it was about that journey of being in the free space with full permission to create. Because that's your creation. It's not something you're copying. It's not something you're, doing from somewhere else. It's you solidifying the connection you have with your creative power. When you solidify that connection, when you trust that connection, when you rely on that connection day to day to day, every day, when you, like how I feel like most of the time I'm walking through the world with my eyes closed, my arms tied behind my back, and I'm walking in a dark room and I have no idea what's next, but I'm trusting. And all I'm listening to is my intuition and this creative voice. I'm listening to my soul, and everything works out perfectly. most of the time. It's solidifying the connection you have with yourself and your creative power. That's how you manifest the things you want. I bought a house when I was like 25 and I had no money in my bank account, but I drew a picture of the house that I wanted. A year later, I was inside it. I know the power of this work. I fully back and fully believe the power of this work. And I want you to experience this too. I don't want you to spend your whole life grinding and doing all the things you think you have to do in order to get the things you want. What you really want, if it comes down to it, if it's like, what you really want is to be connected with yourself and to know yourself. If you say, I really want a relationship, the feelings you're going to get are deep within you. Are deep satisfaction in meeting yourself in that place where you know it's possible. You want to feel like it's possible, like it's available to you. And that's what living deeply connected in your own being and your own expression is like. We could yap on week after week after week about self-care and taking good care of yourself, and that's important. But the most important part is this connection and listening to this connection, trusting it, taking leaps of faith, and allowing the true you to take up space. That's the goal. Because whatever you do naturally from that place, from the embodiment of your best self, of your beautiful self, of your true self, of your golden self, of the self you've always wanted to be, you know it's there because it's possible for you. You wouldn't have it seated in your heart if it weren't possible. And that's what we're playing with, infinite possibility. It's like coaching and energy healing. I've helped people to heal chronic disease. And the only thing that was keeping them in disease and in unhealthiness and in pain from, certain things was the belief that it was powerful and had more power over them without realizing they had the ability to create something else. When you create something else for yourself, that is when you see that new reflection. But like mental health, like physical health, like things that aren't at optimum health, it's often associated with a victim mentality. When there's something wrong with me, it gives me something. What is it that that thing is giving? Permission to not go after your dreams, permission to not be whatever. But you know within you, you are powerful and better than that. And you're the only one keeping yourself small and in that place. So let me pull you out of it. Let's start again, a fresh new day. What is it that you want? Instead of thinking about all of the things that are going wrong, ask yourself, what do I want? Because as soon as you acknowledge it and say it out loud, you're already creating it. Instead of creating all of the things that you don't want to see day in, day out. Train yourself. If there's one thing that you take away from my podcast, from my work, from hearing my voice, it is this one thing. Ask yourself, what do I want? This will change your life faster than anything else. When you're driving down the street and you think, damn, where are the car parks? Instead of even letting that thought become a thing, train yourself, what do I want? I want a car park. There, it manifests. It's opened up. You've got a car park right outside where you want to go. I want a house in the next year. It's open. It's a possibility instead of thinking, no, it's never going to happen. It's too late. I'm going to have to do all these things. Just ask yourself, what do I want? And give yourself the courage and the bravery to answer it and to give yourself the things you're really worthy of. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Wellspring. Sending you all so much love. Namaste. Have a beautiful day. Until next week, ka kite. This show is available as a podcast from the Radio Southland website, radiosouthland.org.nz. You can stream or download from our site. Just look for the Programs tab. Links to stream podcasts can also be found on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Radio Southland. You can subscribe on the Apple Podcasts platform and never miss an episode. You can also look for the podcast on Spotify, search us out, and make sure you follow us. Or there's the updated accessmedia.nz app. Look for the kiwifruit logo. Download it for free from the Google Play or the Apple App Store, and make sure you select Radio Southland as your station.